Hello everyone, this is Kimfx. I'm back again with another setup. This is Gbpjpy USD for our time frame, and as you can see over here, we have been bullish after price mitigated this point of interest. You can check over here. This was the last bearish breakout structure. We had a change of character over here. After that change of character, we mitigated this fair value gap over there. Had another breakout structure over here. Price reacted from this fair value gap again. And now, this is the most recent. This is the most recent breakout structure. That is the most recent bullish breakout structure. And once you check over here, we had this order block that led to this breakout structure. This order block had all the qualities of a valid order block. We have a fair value gap breakout structure. It was unmitigated order block and it had liquidity sweep over here. So once price mitigated onto this, we had confirmed some buys earlier last week, but now we are going to look for another setup for next week. Now we shift to this coming week, sorry. So we shift lower to 1 hour time frame, and you can see over here, once we mitigated this 4 hours order block, this was the last bearish breakout structure, and we formed a change of character over here after mitigation of the 4 hours order block. So you have a change of character over here, and after that change of character, we have this order block that led to that change of character over there. This order block has a fair value gap. It has led to this change of character. It is unmitigated, and we have a lot of liquidity lying over here which has been swept. So we have liquidity sweep over there. Again, this one will act as inducement. This one will act as inducement since it's the first pullback after that breakout structure. That will act as inducement, and below here we are going to have our POI over here. That is going to be our point of interest. So next week I will be focusing to look for buys from this point of interest. Once price taps onto this point of interest over here, I'm going to shift onto the 5 minutes time frame, and I'm going to look for buy confirmations. That is it on Gbpjpy USD. We are going to look for buys from this point. We shift to the next pair, which is the Euro USD, and the same thing was happening. We go back to 4 hours time frame. On the 4 hours time frame, we are very bullish. We are bullish. We had this breakout structure over here. Again, we have this other breakout structure over here. The first pullback after breakout structure is the inducement. So we had inducement here, which led to that liquidity sweep. And below here, we had that fair value gap, which was tapped into and pushed price higher. So we are done with 4 hours time frame. There is nothing else to check on the 4 hours time frame. We shift to 1 hour time frame. We are bullish on that. We have determined the direction. Now on this time frame, we are going to see what is happening. So this was the last bearish breakout structure. We had a change of character over here. That change of character over there. We are going to use our fib to measure the range and see where we have our discount. So we are going to measure from that low to that high. And on the golden zone, that is where we have our point of interest. So I will be focusing on this order block, or I will be focusing on these two order blocks. The first one on the golden zone and the next one on the OTA. So once price taps on this order block, I'm going to wait for buy confirmations. Once I don't get a buy confirmation from this point, I'll wait for price to tap onto this point. I'll get in for buys. This one will be used as inducement since it's the first pullback after break of structure, and that is it on Euro USD. We shift to the next pair, which is the Gbpjpy. And on the Gbpjpy, I had already analyzed this pair. This was the last, we had the last bearish break of structure over here. And then we had a change of character at this point. And after that change of character, we had this break of structure. So this is the most recent break of structure is over here. And we normally say the first pullback after break of structure is known as inducement. And once you check over here, after this break of structure, the first pullback over here was the inducement. And once price closed below the inducement, we had this liquidity sweep. At this point, price tapped onto our order block last week. And now we are going to look for confirmations. And this is what we are going to check out. After price tapped onto our 4 hours order block, we had this liquidity sweep over here. After that liquidity sweep, we had this change of character over here. We had that change of character. And below here, we are going to look for, and below here, we had this 1 hours order block. So on this 1 hours order block, we are going to look for buy confirmations from this point. Once we get the buy confirmations at that point, we are going to target this swing high over here. That is it on Gbpjpy. The price is on our point of interest. What we are focusing on is looking for buy confirmations from this point. The next pair we are going to check is, we are going to check on Usdjpy. And we go to 4 hours time frame. On the 4 hours time frame on Usdjpy, we are bullish, as you can see over here. As you can see over here, this was the last bullish break of structure. Below we had an order block that led to this break of structure. Once this one was mitigated, this was a long buy from last week. As you can see, this was a very nice buy. So we had this buy is set up last week, and now price is pulling back to a point of interest. So what we are going to be checking on next week is we are going to be trading this range over here. So we pull our fib from this low to that high over there. We are going to check on price if it is on discount or on premium, and we can see it's on discount. On the discount, the points of interest that we are having this fair value gap over there, which is covering the golden zone and the OTE. And then we are going to have an order block on the extreme. So this is what I'm going to expect next week. I'm expecting a reaction from this fair value gap. If this fair value gap does not give us confirmations, I'm going to wait for price to pull back to this extreme order block, look for buy confirmations, and I'll be targeting this equal highs over here as my short-term take profits, and long-term I'm targeting this swing high over here at 148.5. So those are the setups that I'm going to be watching this week. And yes, you can subscribe on my YouTube channel. Thank you.